What are you doing?
I'm winding up a flying start.
Oh, hold that.
Oh, certainly. I
Well, fly.
Welcome everybody, it's another day with Speedboat Maniac 410. Welcome to the channel. And again, this is the third part of the 87-part series of this pipe problem from hell. Thank you guys for all your patience and watching the videos the past 4 or 5 times regarding this pipe issue. So if you're bored with all this, just unclick right now and go. Because I'm going to install the pipe today on the boat. It shouldn't take us that long, maybe 20 or 30 minutes. But here's the old alive soldier. It is no longer a dead soldier. And we're going to go ahead and attempt to install it. Shouldn't take that long. So I'm going to round up my tools and get into the old Sanford & Son shed and work right through it. So basically, get some ventilation in here. It's a little warm in here today. Basically, we're going to need the old V-band clamp. Okay. Somewhere I have the red high temperature copper Permatex silicone. We're going to need the good old boat flap. This is a new one. I mean, it didn't blow off the boat this time, but that's the flap. And a couple of wrenches. And we should be good to go. Let's take a look and get it installed. So guys, the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to take some lacquer thinner and an old rag that I use just for lacquer thinner. And I'm just going to clean up the pipe where it goes. You know, I put some silicone on it just around here to get it. So I'm going to pull all this off. It comes off relatively easy. But until I know that this pipe is going to last like it's supposed to, I'm not going to go real crazy sealing it on the inside of the boat, but mainly just blow a nice thing of black silicone, the black Ultra Permatex, around the tailpipe on the outside here after we install the pipe. So I'm going to go ahead and just clean this up with my lacquer thinner rag and maybe take a little bit of Scotch-Brite. I'm not going to make it perfect. I'm not running no, like I say, beauty contest with the boat. Just trying to get it operational, being able to get it out on the bay and enjoy myself a little bit. So we're going to clean it up with some lacquer thinner. Okay, everybody. So here's what I found. And again, there's a lot of people that watch our channel who are a lot more well-versed in a lot of different things than I am. Remember, I'm just a common man trying to have a good old time on my speedboat. But all y'all metallurgists, or however you pronounce it, you know, I had some comments down below over the past few weeks regarding this pipe. And somebody said, oh, that pipe will clean right up. Well, I thought, and again, just because I thought doesn't mean it's true.
Hiya, babe. I'm a cowboy from the West City trains.
That this burnishing or gold color was going to be embedded into the stainless steel. You know, like where the pipe got hot up here and where the headers are getting hot. But so what I did was, you know, I took a little bit of Scotch-Brite. Look, everybody knows like stainless steel sinks and commercial kitchens that you can clean them up with Brillo pad and things like that. Now, depending on how much you polish them, you can get them super clean or not so super clean. So as I was cleaning the silicone off back here where it goes through the boat and the transom so I could put a nice bead of silicone after I'm done, I was just cleaning it up a little bit with this piece of Scotch-Brite, the old red Scotch-Brite, and a little bit of lacquer thinner to cut some of the adhesive or the the silicone. And as I was doing it, obviously I noticed that as you use Scotch-Brite, you know, I've used Brillo pad and Scotch-Brite before, but as you can see, now this is an abrasive, and I could polish the aluminum to a higher polish with a lower grade probably polishing wheel or something like that, but the burnishing is coming right off with a little Scotch-Brite and a little, probably you can just use water or soap, but I just happen to be using lacquer thinner too. So that's a good thing. So good news. Good deal. Meat. I'm gonna sneak in here and get some cucumber salad when somebody's not looking. What'd you make?
Creamy cucumber salad.
Where's it at hiding?
In the fridge. Orange lid on the top shelf.
That'll help me be able to change this pipe, put this pipe back on this boat. Need to get some energy. Oh yeah. Got a good vinegar taste to it too. My hands are clean. All right. What do you think, Jack? Want some cucumber salad, bud?
Want some lemon zucchini in a few minutes?
I gotta put this pipe on. Can't get nothing done. She said, I ain't doing nothing. Okay, guys, so look. Obviously, there's different degrees of polishing stainless steel. And again, let me make this clear. I'm not an expert on metal polishing. So I just hit it a little bit with a Scotch-Brite. And then I had a compound, which I use on the gel coat too. It's made locally here. But I took a terry cloth towel and a little bit of it too, just to kind of not polish it super highly polished, but you know, it's just a compound like this. It's called Smooth. It says 1000 Pro Cut gridding, right? So all I did was just take a little bit of it on a microfiber, and you can see the stainless steel on the rag. So, and of course I did use lacquer thinner and a little Scotch-Brite to cut it at first. And again, it ain't perfect. I ain't shooting for perfect. We know Wes ain't nothing about having stuff perfect. That ain't me. As long as it's good, I'm happy with it. So, you know, I cleaned up a little bit up here, you know, and along the pipe, and where it was kind of burnt back here. And of course right here where all the silicone was stuck at it from here. So that's what I'm doing. Let's get this daggone thing in. Less talk, more action. We're trying to get it done. I'm looking for energy I don't have. I'm supposed to be relaxing today and just chilling, but I'd like to get the old pipe in. You know, 20 minutes has turned into 2 hours. You know what I'm saying. Well, yeah. All right, so I got my goodies up here, guys. Just some basic tools. I got my silicone, my nut driver, my screwdriver, my ice water. It's good to stay hydrated. I wanted to also, you know, a lot of this part of this channel obviously is not just, you know, just speedboating.
City trains.
It's him! It's him! It's him!
Right? It's the discussion of how to get to that part. Working on your boat, the mechanics of it, maintaining it, repairing it. And I would like to say, there was a comment, was very interesting, late yesterday afternoon from a gentleman, I believe his name was Michael. And he mentioned to me, hey, that's great. I'm glad, that you're getting your pipe repaired and welded, but you need to look into if any water got back down into your engine and into your cylinders, which is obviously a major concern for any marine engine. Now, there is something that I do remember from a good 6, 7, 8 years ago when I had my 35-foot 2007 35-foot intercontinental ballistic missile fountain. It had 5 1/4, staggered situation just like this. The port motor was up front, the starboard motor was in the rear. And there was a bulletin from Mercury that said that the rear motors on the 5 1/4, because the tailpipes are shorter and closer to the water, at certain RPMs, don't quote me, but somewhere between like 1800 RPMs and like 3800 RPMs, you get what you call reversion, which means that the valve timing between the intake valve and the exhaust valve, there's a slight overlap. So as the pistons are going up and down, it almost pulls air back in from the exhaust just a little bit. And that at certain times, if you had the silent choice on, which is installed by the factory from your boat manufacturer, not from Mercury, that it would cause what they call reversion. Well, this gentleman was kind enough to send over a like 10-page, explanation to me, and I'll put the link down here. It's actually pretty interesting. It's called resonance reversion, which means that the certain harmonics that the engine's running at and the vibration just from the noise causes the water to actually capillary convect up the pipe. It can even go uphill and back into your cylinder walls while the motors are running. So obviously, that's an issue, reversion in general. But if you have pipes that are leaking, or headers that are leaking, manifolds that are failing, the inner and the outer pipe are failing, if an exhaust valve happens to be open while the pipe is leaking and you've flushed the boat or you're sitting out on the water for a while and there's no way to pull the corks on your headers, it doesn't really make much sense to do that, then the water actually will drain back down into the inner chamber of the exhaust, down into the cylinder head, and if the valve happens to be open, it's going to run into the cylinder. And you even can, when you go to start the engine and turn the engine up, cause a hydro lock because it's filled with water. And obviously, all you hot lick mechanics out there, or anybody that has maybe a second grade education, knows that water does not compress, and you can cause engine damage. Now, I say that these high performance pipes, they make on these a lip. Okay, this lip goes inside of a flat flange. So this actual lip is beveled. So it would take an awful lot for the water to come on the inside of this flange. Okay, and actually hop up over top of this lip. It's almost called, just like in the article I was reading that this gentleman sent to me, it's a vacuum breaker. So it keeps the exhaust from not doing that. So way back 20, 30 years ago, Mercury saw this was happening, not just with the 525 issue, but a lot of motors. And their aluminum or cast iron risers that they were making for their V6s and their V8s, they were having to put this special vacuum breaker lip in it so that the water couldn't travel past it and make it back into the engine. I think we're okay on these CMI high performance headers as far as tailpipe and reversion, because there's a lip. All these have a lip inside of them, like a bell, just like this. It's a collar that's shaped like this. This part sits inside the flange, and the water would play hell getting over top of this lip and working its way back in for basically what you would call resonance reversion. So just a little side note, a little discussion, but I appreciate Mike y'all sending that to me, and it was really good information, and I enjoyed reading it, and I learned a lot. So anyway, let's get this pipe installed, guys. Okay, guys. I hope I got you set up somewhat halfway decent. Kind of hard to find a spot that's good. So basically, what we're going to do, this gasket's in good shape, even though it's used. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, most of this is relatively clean. It doesn't have to be like a surgery table. We ain't doing surgery on it. But it'll work just fine. So, we're going to put a nice little bead of loveliness right here, all the way around it. Just a nice thin bead. Okay. On this side, right, it should stick, right, and then I'm going to put a nice bead on this side, just a thin bead, doesn't have to be much. The gasket does most of the work, but I love this old Permatex red for high temperature exhaust clamps and gaskets. It's worked good for me for years, so if it works, then why mess with it? So now I have an option, guys, of what I was going to do. Remember before I was talking about the pipe itself, this crossover pipe made of rubber. I actually found the triple wall pipe. I have two of them that has a steel lining in it. I'm going to go ahead and put it on this one just for the sake of argument. Since this has been a problem, I'm not saying it's going to continue to be a problem, but we're going to put the heavy duty one on it this time. Okay, so I'll push it on as far as I can here, right? Grabbing the pipe from back here. Okay, guys, big apologies. I cut you guys off by accident, or the sun cut you off by accident, so you missed the assembly of the pipe.
Hey, what are you doing? I'm winding up a flying start. Oh, hold it. Oh, Sydney, fly.
Real quick, we got it all put back together. Here's the triple wall hose, the steel reinforced crossover hose, the V-band clamp, all of the silicones in it. We're going to let it set up, and then I'll go ahead and silicone outside of the boat a little later tonight, and we're going to sea trial it in the next day or two. Guys, appreciate you coming along. If you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and turn on your notification bell. Share the video and comment down below and tell me what you think. And we'll see you guys on the next one. And as always, to you and your family, God bless.